Welcome back to the Entertainology Podcast. I am your host, Gabe, and I'm here again with my wonderful special guest, Jeremy. How's it going?
Good. Doing very good. I'm representing today.
Yes, you are.
My post-av. I'm wearing my merch right now.
Fantastic shirt.
It's a little bit of a plug, but
Okay.
I'm not telling you where to get it.
Yeah.
So
It's a big secret.
yeah, you find out. Etsy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
When are you bringing the old designs back? You didn't care
I
for
did.
those
I should
ones?
bring the old designs back.
Yeah.
Those are actually my favorite designs.
Oh.
I made this one,
Oh. Okay.
which is why probably I don't like it as much.
Oh.
But a friend of mine actually made the ones. It was actually, he didn't make it. He wrote on my album, Lovers and Liars.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But on my album, Lovers and Liars,
Just give him a
give a second. He did the handwriting for the top of for the name and album, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just took his handwriting and I put it on a T-shirt.
Wow.
And
Okay.
that's it. So that's all that T-shirt where it's handwritten. That's his handwriting. I didn't give him the money for that, which I probably should have because that's his.
Oh, my gosh.
But he's not going to listen to this podcast.
Oh man. So sorry to hear that.
No, just kidding.
Oh, man.
Anywho,
What a special treat again that we have.
yeah, I'm very excited to be on this again. And so, especially for a movie that it's one of my top. I'll say one of my top 3 favorite movies, maybe top 5 favorite movies.
Are we
I'll say.
talking favorite movies of all time?
It's very biased, yes.
Okay.
And so,
Okay.
favorite movies of mine for all time.
Oh,
and
wow.
we'll get into this later, obviously, but this movie tanked credit-wise,
yes.
or for like the
my
whatever.
Gosh.
But I actually really loved, critics-wise, I said credits. Critics-wise, it tanked. And even their own, like, people's own review, popular review or whatever, IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, it also tanked. But for me, this was one of my top favorite movies. And I believe for me, it was because of timing. You can't... Okay, this movie was in the shadow of... We're talking about Nacho Libre. I don't know if we said that already.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this movie
it's
was
in the title too.
Yeah,
so.
we'll put it in the title.
all right.
Was in the shadow of Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huge
Absolutely.
shadow of Napoleon Dynamite. It's literally the same directors and the same writers, I
Okay.
believe.
Now that you say that, I kind of feel the same type of vibe coming from both of them.
And so that was when Napoleon Dynamite came out. That was Apex, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Shout out to Anthony.
sponsorship.
Sponsor. When Napoleon Dynamite came out, it was revolutionary in the sense of the kind of comedy that had really not really ever been done before to that caliber. And so when that stuff was coming out, that kind of humor, I was a teenager. And so this movie came out in 2006. When did Napoleon Dynamite come out?
Had to have been. Was it 08?
Nacho? No, it was
07?
before.
Really?
So, because this came out
Okay.
in 06.
Okay.
I'm surprised there's not
Because
like
I remember watching that one too
Yeah.
on DVD.
On DVD.
Oh, yeah.
You collect
We're throwing
DVDs.
it-
We should
throwing it.
probably say that really quick.
Well, Blu-rays, but
you collect Blu-rays. Oh, it is different. Sorry.
Did I get it right? No.
It is. I'm looking it up. I thought it would be easier to find.
Oh my
Give me a second.
It's just hard to spell, I think. Napoleon Dynamite. You sound it out. Sound it out.
No, that was
Okay.
wrong.
Okay.
How do you spell Napoleon?
All right. I don't
How
know.
to spell Napoleon?
I have no idea.
N-N-A.
Go back to the history book. I don't know. Jeez.
Holy. Oh, there it is. I was spelling it N instead of Na. So N-I.
Well, that was a good movie too.
Yeah, that was.
Was.
I clicked on. So okay, that was a bad click. But there's a Napoleon movie actually coming out soon
Oh.
with Joaquin Phoenix, and that's
Wow.
a
Okay.
another side tangent. But that's a Ridley Scott movie
Oh yeah.
that's
you
coming
love
out.
That guy.
I'm super pumped for that one. He's one of my favorite directors.
Oh my gosh.
And then Joaquin Phoenix is such a phenomenal actor.
He is.
And so I'm just super excited for that movie to
We've
come.
all seen Joker, so.
Joker, well, he did Walk the Line. He did,
Oh man.
you name it, he was in it. No, just kidding.
Whatever.
Okay, where's the year? 2004.
Wow, that was old.
So yeah, Napoleon Dynamite came out in 2004. Nacho Libre came out 6 years later. I'm gonna look into Napoleon. It's hard to talk about Nacho Libre without talking about its older brother,
right?
Napoleon Dynamite, because it's literally, I believe, the same people. The only difference actually in the writers is Mike White, who's one of my favorite, like all-time favorite writers out there. So did you ever see School of Rock?
No, but it rings a bell.
School of Rock was one of Jack Black's one of his big movies that he did. I would say maybe his first big movie that he did.
Okay.
And Mike White was his roommate in the movie, but he's also one of the writers of that movie. But he famously in 2023, one of his things that he just did was the TV series called White Lotus. I don't remember what that was on, but like what streaming service. Phenomenal.
Wow.
White Lotus is probably one of my top tier ever series to come out. Just because it was so good. And he wrote it during the pandemic. He wrote it. He was the only writer. He was the director. He was like a bunch of these other, it was just him essentially, and this huge cast behind it. And so he's not only can he do comedies like Nacho Libre, but he can do some really serious films. And I don't know if he won an award for it. He may have, but Jennifer Garner did. Garner? That's not her name. Jennifer Coolidge. She won an award for that TV series, and she did it with her comeback, and that was her comeback show, and killed it. She just crushed it. Both seasons that have gone out so far. But that's my Mike White plug. And so he's one of the writers, and I honestly believe that, so there's Hess, the directors and the writers. It's a husband and wife. I'm looking at their names right now. Jared and Jerusha. Hess are the people who did Napoleon Dynamite and then went alongside Mike White in the making of Nacho Libre. But they were the original directors only of Napoleon Dynamite.
Wow.
And so I liked Nacho Libre more personally than Napoleon Dynamite, because to me there felt like there was more of a story.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Nacho Libre or Napoleon Dynamite was just kind of, there was a story to it, but it was more for the humor and not for the sake of the story, which is fine. Right. But I liked, the story kept me in.
Right.
And this Nacho Libre is actually based off of a true happening. So not a true story, because it's not what happened at all, but there is a man, his name in Mexico, I think his father or deacon or whatever, I don't know, they call him something, and he was a professional wrestler to help support his whatever it's called.
Wow. Now, was this the real wrestling, or was it like that fake stuff?
It was whatever this kind of wrestling is, Spanish wrestling.
Okay.
Or what is it called?
I think it's real.
Luchador.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so is luchador wrestling real?
I don't know.
Because I know obviously there's entertainment wrestling.
Right.
WWE and
which is fake.
Is it ACE or something? For all my AEM or something. I don't know.
I was a big fan of WWE when
I was too. WWF is actually what it was called when I was a kid.
Really?
And then
got that upgrade.
What happened was then the worldwide is it for animals, worldwide something, wildlife something federation, was the one that took the acronym. They took the WWF, and so then they changed it to WWE. I was alive when that happened and knew that it was happening.
It must stand for Worldwide Wrestling Entertainment.
Yeah, I think it was worldwide, and but it was World Wrestling Federation or something. The F was Federation once upon a time. Now it's Entertainment or something.
Jeez. Who cares?
Who cares? I mean, I'm not into it. If you're into it, go for it. It's your thing. Live your life. But
right. Yes.
Yeah. So this is luchador stuff though, which is different.
Right.
I don't know too much about luchador.
Me neither.
But I might still have it. The actual luchador mask.
Oh.
From Nacho Libre. His.
Really? And when did you get that?
I got that. My sister got that for me.
Really?
Shout out to my sister.
Because you're such a big fan.
I was okay. So we're going to talk about that.
And you are still a great big fan.
Huge
right?
fan. And so when I was in college,
100 times you watched it.
I have seen this movie. I think it's the movie I've seen the most. I do think that that's accurate.
For real.
But I have seen it so many times that twice in my life. I'm not going to say 100% because I think that's ridiculous. But twice in my life, I have quoted this movie almost verbatim. Even to the point, you can ask my lady, my partner in crime. You can ask her. I did it with her, I think, once. And I did it in college. And it was to prove that I could quote the movie because I loved it so much.
Wow.
And I went through, and I'm not talking line for line.
Okay.
Because that was part of it. Right. But the way that they said it as well, too. And then the music as well. I was quoting.
Iconic.
And then also the sound effects. Like, I'm telling you, anything audio-wise that was coming out of this film, I was quoting. And I'm not going to say 100% because I think that's crazy to say that. But I will say it was pretty high up there. I'm going to just guesstimate and say 95%.
Wow.
Yeah, accuracy.
Okay.
Right. And that's how much I loved this movie. And even when I was watching it, so before we do this, I always watch the movie just because I want to get refreshed.
Oh, absolutely.
And I wasn't able to do that. That would be kind of weird if I could still do that. I feel like because I am far above that
verbatim
age.
Type of thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But there were some things that I quoted just because they're so funny. But I loved this movie so much, which is so funny because I would not rate it as like an A+ movie. I'm just saying out of bias and out of timing, this for me was a huge film in my life. And so, I mean, I loved it. But if you look at we're going to go through it too.
Yeah. And listen, this I believe this movie is not for everyone.
That's very true.
The comedy is like very like a specific.
Yeah.
I would say like very specifically toned to like, it's dumb.
It's just dumb.
It's so dumb.
Yeah. It's just to be dumb.
But it's so dumb.
Yeah.
That it's hilarious.
That's funny because there is dumb that's just dumb.
Oh,
like the movie The Room.
Right.
But there is dumb where it's actually so stupid that it's funny. And not, they kind of cornered the market. The Hess people kind of cornered the market when it came to these kinds of films. With Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre. And they did a bunch of other films as well too, but we're just going to stick to those for the sake of conversation.
Yes.
And so, but yeah, obviously you have Jack Black as the main character in this movie. But from there you don't, at the time, I believe, you really don't have any big names. It was just him. But I think that this film made some of these people more of those big names.
Put them on the map.
Put them on the map. Yeah. Especially...
and you know what? I bet you it saved the studios a lot of money, too.
Absolutely.
Getting some random people out there.
I'm going to pronounce these guys' names wrong, but I'm just going to try anyway.
It's okay. Just say it was that good-looking girl or whatever.
Yeah, well, it's the sister that he was really into. Ana de la Regura.
Okay.
So we'll call her Anna. I think that put her on the map. I feel like the sister in it, I feel like I've seen her in films after this. Okay. Not like a ton or anything like that, but just like every once in a while, I've seen her in a few things. And then Hector Jimenez got it.
Ooh.
As well, too.
Who was he?
He was the friend.
Oh, yes. Okay.
He was...
Esqueleto.
And honestly,
such a funny character.
He's okay. This is what we mean by stupid. His facial expressions.
Okay.
When he's like stretching his face, and he pronounces things all weird and shows his teeth. Mm-hmm. Just gold. It's so stupid, but it's gold comedy.
Some people would just leave the theater. I mean, seeing something like that.
Actually, some people felt that way with Napoleon Dynamite. But
I've heard about that too. I've heard about that.
Yeah, it just it hit a specific group. Napoleon Dynamite did, which was teenagers. Mm-hmm. And so
some would say the same thing about this one too.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Though I do like. I was just talking to a friend of ours right before this, and he's. I'm going to say in his 40s.
Okay.
I think he's older than that.
Okay.
Dude, what do you think? He's been on the show.
Yes, he has.
Ryan Koenig.
Yes.
I was just talking with him, and then he said this was one of his favorite movies. I'm going to say he's early 40s, late 50s.
So he had to be in like 20 or 30 when he watched it.
Yeah. Late 40s, early 50s.
And the funny thing is, awesome guy. But the funny thing is that I was curious what other people thought too, so I went on YouTube real quick.
Yeah.
And someone barely saw this movie 2 years ago. And what they said was that it was one of the best movies they've ever seen.
Really? From 2 years ago?
And they literally just watched it like 2 years prior.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And that's funny because honestly, if you're young, you at the very least have heard of this movie and you just never watched it. At the very least.
Yeah, at the very least.
But most people I've talked to have seen this movie at least once.
Right.
Even my own parents.
They've seen it?
Absolutely,
really?
they've seen it.
I don't think my parents have seen it.
They've seen it. Okay.
They're annoying. Just no. They may have seen it with me or something because I loved it so much, but
Right.
I could ask them. They have a better memory than I do.
Yeah.
But
my nostalgia kind of comes from watching this with my brother.
Yeah.
So he really
what did this
he really
movie,
enjoyed it.
What did this movie mean to you? Because obviously for me, I watched it a lot, but for what did it because I know you like this movie a ton. Is it one of your top favorite?
It's not. It's not.
But it's a movie that's up there.
It is a movie, yeah.
Yeah. So, but why?
Why is it?
Yeah, why is it a movie that's up there?
I don't want to play too hard off of nostalgia, but
that's what I'm playing off of, though.
Really?
Too. Yeah. I'm a teenager. I'm 16 years old.
Okay.
All
right.
Driver's license.
Because honestly, watching this again, I mean, don't get me wrong. Before I say this, don't get me wrong, but it didn't hit the same for me.
I would agree.
It did not.
I was
going to
leave that out.
Oh,
because I didn't.
Okay.
I wanted to talk from bias of me. If I had talked about this movie
We're cutting that out.
Oh yeah, we'll cut it out. Right? He was being honest. Let's cut it out.
And
done. But it's the end. Welcome to Entertainology.
All right. Let's start over from the beginning.
Yeah, remember when it was spelled Entertainology?
Yeah,
that was hilarious. Okay,
and then people kept giving me a hard time about it.
Right, exactly. People, this guy and me and Paulo, man, Paulo thought that was so funny.
Oh man.
But what were we talking about?
Yes.
I didn't. Okay, so I watched it again, and I will say, watching it again, I did think it was still funny.
Okay.
Laugh out loud funny, but it did not hit. I probably shouldn't have watched it again.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Oh man.
I should have probably left it where it was.
Well, hold on a minute. When was the last time you watched it then before this?
So when I first started dating Bree was in 2018.
Okay.
So probably about around that time.
Okay, so it's been a while.
About 5 years. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, and I think I loved it so much then because it was just nostalgia.
Yeah.
And I will still say that the nostalgia's there, but it's just not as, it didn't hit like it used to.
Mm-hmm.
It's still funny.
Right.
I still love the movie.
Exactly.
But I talking from a huge bias. I just think it's so good. Especially because now knowing that Mike White was a huge part of this movie. And I love his stuff and all that. But, and these actors and actresses and the timing and all of that of a lot of their jokes was just awesome. Right. And a lot of the even hidden talking monologue that's underneath the things that are actually going on are even funny. And that's, I don't know. I just felt like through and through, it was weaved a really good web of comedy.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah. So I feel like this is one of the perfect movies to kind of Saturday night, invite the boys over, we're watching it.
Right, exactly.
I feel like it would be a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah.
When you're watching it as a group.
I would say so.
Rather than by yourself.
Right. And it's one of those movies too that you can kind of, if you need to check your phone or something, you probably could.
Oh, yeah.
You're not really going to miss too much.
Yeah.
But I will say when it comes to comedy, though, a lot of people don't really pay attention to this. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times with comedies, people do reach for their phones and they can do both at once. Okay. But comedy, a lot of times, is not more about what's being said, but what's happening.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that. And I would say Nacho Libre is one of those as well, too, that a lot of times what's happening is actually greater than what's being said.
Yes.
A huge movie that I think does that the best is Anchorman. There's so much subtlety in what the actors are doing in that movie and the directors are doing that I just believe that it's so much more than just stupid comedy. Watch them. You know what I mean? Watch what they're doing. Watch the background. Watch the what the camera's doing and all that kind of stuff. It's comedy gold. But I would say you need to watch what they're doing in this movie. Oftentimes more than even what they're saying.
Right.
So.
Right.
And any comedy.
Oh yeah.
It's about, it's about mannerisms. That's just, if you got a significant other that does that, which I do, I'll say, get off your phone, you need to watch it.
It's the certain looks, it's the certain actions that they do.
Timing.
These actors do. Oh yes, the timing too.
Timing is what, honestly, comedy
true.
is all about timing, and wit.
Sometimes even silence,
right,
all that stuff.
Exactly. The times that they switch from one thing to the other. And
oh yeah.
I don't know.
It's great.
It's so good.
That's great.
I like your cow. That's my favorite line in the whole movie.
Oh gosh.
Is that he's driving. He's driving out. Oh, by the way, so that bike that he rides in the movie.
Is that an electric one or what's
yeah, they
going
made
on
it for the film.
Oh, they made it.
Yeah, so that's not an actual bike.
It felt like half motorcycle, half like half like bicycle, half scooter type.
It
of
is.
thing.
It's like a bike, but they put an engine on it.
Okay.
And I don't know. Is it like electric or is it? I don't know any of that kind of stuff. But I know that they made it specifically for the movie.
Okay.
And so that's one of those things.
I'm not too sure if it could hold two people.
No, I think they did though.
Him and El Esqueleto.
Was he sitting in front in the basket?
Yeah. Well, then there's another part of the movie where it's reversed too.
Oh, and there's
Esqueleto is
they
driving.
do the thing where they clasp and then it just zooms out.
Yes,
that again, it's the comedy. That's the director comedy.
Yes.
It's not just about what's being said. The camera a lot of times is doing the things that are funny as well too. And so they do the thing where they clasp each other's hands, you know what I mean? Like you and I would be like, right. And then they see that and then it quickly zooms out and they turn and then they drive away. That's what's funny.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Some people may not think so, but I think that that's what's funny.
Man.
You know what I mean? It's just like this huge zoom out. It's a little old school, but it's funny.
It is.
I don't know.
It works. It works. And I don't know what you watched it on this past time, but
Paramount Plus.
What gave? Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what it's on
there. But who gave permission for this movie to look so good?
To look good. You're talking about cinematography wise?
No, I'm talking about like the quality of it.
Yeah,
I just don't remember it looking so good.
Like color wise, and you're talking about
color. And
yeah.
I was amazed. I did not watch it on Paramount Plus. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Paramount Plus.
Okay, I actually
watched
it on Blu-ray.
Ooh, which is that's a good way to do it. You took a little
very stunning.
Yeah, you took a little camera shot of you picking it up and putting it on your stories.
all right. Follow me, guys.
Follow him. Yeah, follow him on Instagram. Follow me as well too. Post Ab Music. Little plug again.
Oh boy.
That's my handle. Yep. Post Ab Music.
There we go.
And then you're Gabe.
Oh no! Oh my gosh! They're not supposed to know my last name. I'm bleeping that.
Oh, bleep it out. What is your last name on, or what's your handle?
It's Movie Art Reviews.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's your personal one?
That's none of your business.
Okay.
Oh my
That's hilarious. Yeah, bleep out your last name. I guess it would matter. How much you care about your last name.
I guess. Yeah.
Mine is Smith.
Oh, yes. Nice to meet you, Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith.
Were you and Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
That movie. Did you review that movie yet?
I have not.
Stupid movie.
Excuse me?
I did not like that
movie. Okay, buddy.
Oh, man. That's a couple movie.
Okay.
We love each other and let's do a movie together and then break up.
Okay.
That's what Mr. and Mrs. Smith is.
All right.
I'm looking at it. IMDb.com.
Okay, back off.
I'm looking it up.
No, nobody cares.
Nobody
cares. It's going to be a decent rating is what it's going to be.
This is probably better than this movie.
Honestly. Is. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's look at the rating on this one.
I thought at the least that one was a decent
6.5.
It was a decent movie. Yeah. Okay. I'm not saying it's breaking records, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Oh, 6.5, which for IMDb is not great.
All right.
It's okay. Anything
okay.
in the 6 range is like okay.
Right.
Anything below 6 is usually like meh.
You want to shoot for the 7s, okay?
You want to shoot
for the 7s.
for the 7s are obviously higher.
Right, absolutely.
But sometimes those can even be a little wrong.
Okay.
I've seen some 7s that have been like, that was not a 7.
Really?
I think 25th Hour was a 7.
Oh.
We talked about that last week. Or 2 weeks ago. A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
For the sake of when this is coming out and when the other one comes out.
Yeah.
It came out when this came out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Wink, wink. We talked about it then. But to say all that, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, going back to Nacho Libre, it has a 5.9
Okay.
on IMDb.
That is terrible.
That is not a good movie
No.
rating.
According to
According to
IMDb.
ratings.
Right.
And it's rated by 92,000 people.
92. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people
That
to
is
give
a
it
lot of people.
a 5.9.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm kind of going to look and see
Oh,
that
man.
most average group being 6.
Okay. Nice.
So that is 20.3% of the overall ratings. And then
Wow.
the next from there being 7.
Okay.
So, but the next from there being 5.
Oh.
And so that's kind of what would make it that 5.9 is people kind of sitting there a little in the middle.
Okay.
I was hoping to see people's actual user reviews.
Nice.
Let's see there. This person says outrageously funny. Slapstick south of the border. I don't know if I'd call it a slapstick.
No, I don't think this is a slapstick.
Yeah, that's not. I don't know.
That's more of like the Three Stooges type.
Yeah,
of thing.
that's. And okay, here's the thing though. Some people really like slapstick, and yes, they do hit each other, but for the sake of wrestling more. You know what I mean? Not for like the comedy of like boinking somebody on their head.
Right.
So
Someone said there's everything in this movie. Got romance, adventure, action.
it does. It hits it all. You know, and that's why I say the writing was. I think writing wise, plot wise, it was better than Napoleon Dynamite. It's just that Napoleon Dynamite was first, so you have to recognize the journey. You know what I mean?
Right. One thing I got from this, and I other people heard. I heard it on YouTube too.
Yeah,
is like people. Have you ever thought about like he's like trapped in his job, right?
Yeah.
He's always had this dream to become a wrestler.
Right.
And he finally makes it.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if you would consider makes it right away. But
in the movie, he only won one match. Fun fact.
Yeah. That's
but
true.
Anywho.
Just loss after loss. But
yeah, we won the last one.
Oh, yeah.
But that's for the movie. Anywho.
But, you know, it really speaks to like, well, I mean, is it trying to speak to people out there?
Right.
You know, that might be like, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a better job for me out there, you know?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And like I said before, it actually comes from, it's a true story. It's not a true story.
Right.
It's I'm calling it a true happening. That's not the phrase either. But there really was a father who, or whatever they're called, deacon. I think I said that before, but that's not the right term. That, who in Mexico became a professional luchador. And ironically, his mask was actually gold, which is why they made Ramses. Ramses is
not
mask.
Ramsey.
Ramses. That's what he called him.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Ramsey or something.
Ramses.
Okay, Ramses.
He's the best.
He's the best. Ramses is the best.
He's the best.
Right.
Which I think. So they made his mask gold as an homage for the actual person who the story's about. But Ramses is also dead. Fun fact of the day.
Oh my gosh.
Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, he died in a, from what I understand, though I don't know if this is completely true, but what the articles I read, he died in a wrestling match in London in his 50s. He had a heart attack.
Oh my goodness.
Let me look. I want to call him by his real name because there he is.
You got to be careful.
Cesar Gonzalez.
Okay.
Yeah. Or is it, if I say it in Spanish? No?
Cesar or something?
Because okay, I'm going to spell it. I'm going to spell it and then you say it. Okay.
What if I look it up here?
Oh yeah, you just look it up and tell me how to pronounce it correctly.
Cesar Gonzalez, I think.
Cesar?
I think so.
Okay. Gonzalez.
And might be way off.
Yeah. I don't know. But he was a professional luchador, so it's got to be this Spanish pronunciation.
I think so.
It's got to be. And so, he did a very good job being the quote unquote villain, though obviously was probably a great person, in his life. But yeah, he had a heart attack in his 50s.
Ouch.
On stage, from what I understand, and in the ring, and passed in London. So, which is such a fluke, that's such a fluke thing to happen.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, that's one of the. But his mask was gold as a representation of the actual luchador that the movie's about. That's what he actually wore.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
And so
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. That's also why he looks like a luchador wrestler. I think I just said the same thing twice.
Well,
that's why he looks like a luchador person, because he
kind of looks like Rey Mysterio a little bit.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
There you go.
You remember that wrestler?
Yeah, right. Mine was it Sting?
John Cena?
John Cena. I don't know if John Cena was mine.
Oh,
I think of how far back I go. So we're 10 years apart.
Okay.
So my days of entertainment wrestling, and yours were vastly different.
Oof.
So I don't think John Cena was.
Well, yeah, you're right. Sting is very 90s. Old school
yeah.
type
So he's
stuff.
90s.
Yes.
The 90s were my prime.
So Ric Flair.
Ric Flair. Yep.
There you go.
So Hulk Hogan.
Hogan. Yes.
He was
iconic.
Iconic. So, but I think he was in the 80s more.
Okay.
I want to say, though he was still cool in the 90s.
Gotcha.
But I just feel like his prime was a lot longer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Was Triple H around?
Yeah.
He was?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel.
Shawn Michaels, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, you were really into it.
Oh yeah, I know everything, man.
Do you really?
Yeah. They were a part of like Generation X.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that you were
I was all
an entertainment wrestling fan.
I was all up in it.
How old were you when you were into that?
Oh, I was really young. Me and my brother would I remember when we were younger, we'd buy like those belts.
Oh, really?
And then
the wrestling belts?
Wrestle on the bed. on my parents' bed. We just kind of pretend.
Just hit each other.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It was
just like ooh, pile driver.
Yeah, right,
I don't know.
Pile driver.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, they do some of those moves though in this.
Yeah. Yes, they
movie.
do.
And obviously, there's a way to do it where you don't hurt either party.
Right. And it looked pretty good.
Yeah, it looked pretty good. It was directed very well.
2006 movie.
Yeah, and he was actually hit by the bull as well too.
The bull. Oh,
no,
yeah.
I'm kidding.
Okay, all right.
Wouldn't that be nuts if he was? No, that was very obvious
what if
CG.
It was, oh, yeah.
Yeah. CGI. I will say this movie's CGI was very obvious.
The further away you are, the better it looks.
It does, yeah. So, and whomever they hired for their CGI at the time.
You got to save money, man.
You do. There's some things that are more important, and the CGI was not big enough in the movie for it to be as important.
Right.
Because obviously that was just a joke, but the eagle scene is just, oh my goodness. You know what I mean? Were they in front of a green screen the whole time?
Right. There was some green screen definitely in this film, I know.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's okay. It doesn't take away from the movie.
Yeah. And this is more of I'm sure this was marketed more as a kid's movie, I think.
Teenagers?
I believe
because
so. I think it was on It was like a Nickelodeon.
It was a Nickelodeon film, but Nickelodeon did do.
It was or it wasn't?
It was a Nickelodeon.
It was,
film.
right? Yeah, I thought so. Yes.
I think that's who. And by that, it means that's who paid for it.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like that's usually when all of those sponsors in the beginning are usually the people that paid for it and or were the people who allowed it.
Yeah.
Because what can happen is a writer comes forward and says, I have this movie. Can you help me pay for it? And they say no or yes.
Okay.
It's essentially,
gotcha.
That's a very arbitrary, small way, a very simple way of saying how it works, though it's a lot more, way more complicated than that.
Yeah, way more.
But we'll just call it that for now. Jack Black killed it in this movie.
He did. He brought his all.
He brought his all. I actually, when I was watching it again, and I could be wrong in thinking this, but I felt like he was overacting.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
I didn't know you could overact.
That's not a thought. There's acting and whatever. That is just overacting.
Okay.
It's like it seems a little too dramatic for what's happening.
Too much. Okay.
Too much.
Okay.
And there were times I felt like he was doing too much, but in a sense that was what was funny. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, it wasn't a bad thing. And I know overacting can come across as a bad thing, but I felt like in this movie it was good. It was a good overacting. But he as a person just has all of that kind of energy to be doing something like that.
He's
so
got
you're
a lot of energy.
you're basically kind of choosing the guy.
Yeah.
Who does that? You think of like Tenacious D or even School of Rock.
Takes it to the next level. Jack Black.
It's just his comedy, but that's why he's so good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so that's kind of what they got. You hear the storm?
Oh yeah.
That's kind of what they got for.
Hopefully it doesn't cut through.
I don't care.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Just do the high pass filter.
Oh yeah.
You do that already?
It's already at 80. I don't know. We'll see.
We might have to bring it to 120.
Oh, at 120.
We'll see. Or 100. 100 might be fine.
100. Okay.
You just listen to it.
200, and then we'll sound.
No, not 200.
We'll sound like aliens or something.
Right, exactly. No, it sounds like you sound terrible when you do something like that.
Don't do that. Sound stuff.
Anywho, sound stuff.
They don't understand.
It's so funny.
Oh gosh, sorry guys.
By trade, I am a sound engineer,
man.
and so is he. So we also do.
What a
do mixing as
coincidence.
well. Yes. Some, and you help me out.
Yeah.
Quite a bit in that. Anywho.
Awesome.
But yes,
it's great.
We'll just take the rumble out. Though, never mind. I was just
about
to roll into like a bunch of theory.
All right.
Shut up. You guys watch,
shut up. That's
if
enough.
you guys watching it on the camera, you would have seen my brain like click into gear and was just about ready to just spiral.
We gotta cut him off.
Yeah, you got to cut me before I start when
Producer,
it comes to
please
to sound engineer. Yeah, where's the you the tree?
It's John Cena.
John Cena.
Can't
it's
see
Jack
him.
Black.
Can't see him.
Yeah. Also, I did notice, this is one of my side tangents, but there was part of the production. One of the teams that paid for this was called Black and White.
Oh,
and I actually kind of wonder if that is a Jack Black and Mike White. Should I look at that?
Interesting.
Google that.
If you want
Let's look it up. Black and White.
It would make sense that they might have teamed up.
Productions. Yeah, like
do
they're
something like that. Yeah.
Oh, Black and White production.
Or coincidence, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Coincidence.
Maybe it was just coincidence.
I bet you it's those guys.
It is
because they did.
Did they do other films?
They did Year of the Dog, which is directed by Mike White.
Okay.
They did Vagabonds.
Maybe it is his company.
I bet you.
Okay.
I bet you it's both of them.
Okay.
We're just gonna say it.
Right.
Actually, it's funny. Black and White Productions only did on here. It says 5 films. And the only one that was really well known, obviously, being Nacho Libre. But Year of the Dog after that, and then Vagabonds, and then
beautiful.
Dan Jones' career is over. Never heard of it.
Oh.
And Sardinas? Sardinia? Okay. Sardinia? Okay. It's a documentary.
Boring.
Came out in 1998, though. Makes me wonder if that was even him. I don't know.
So in this movie, I kind of want to...
Yeah, what do you want to do?
Kind of want to... Is there anything that pops out to you? Like, what kind of makes this movie hilarious to you? I know there's so much...
Yeah.
Like, iconic scenes, I'd say. I feel like this movie in general is just iconic.
Yes.
But, like, there are definitely scenes in this movie that stick out.
Well, this is... Okay, so that answer... I'll answer that in a second.
Okay.
What makes movies like this so great is not because I watched it alone at my house. Was because I watched it with a bunch of my friends. And now we're all quoting it together.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, or like, say for instance, when I saw Ryan today, and I actually said a Nacho Libre quote, and he said it back.
Whoa.
And it was like one of those of like, oh, so we're talking you know what I mean? Now we have something in common, or another thing in common, you know? And so that's what these films do.
Okay.
It's kind of like when you're talking about anything that you're really into, now you've become part of a club.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like when you like, say for instance, you love Friends, and you go out there and you say a Friends quote, and then like 3 or 4 other people in the room are like, bah, ha, ha, I totally get it. And then like there's some people who are a little bit isolated.
Right.
That's what it's for. You know, it's like I'm now instantly friends with all of you people, and we're going to go to the grave together.
That's what they call an inside joke.
Inside joke, yes.
Yeah.
But the inside joke of it being, we've all seen this movie.
Right.
It's not really an inside joke.
Well, that person hasn't, and they're just like, what are you guys laughing about?
Right.
You know?
And it's like, well, you got to see it. You know what I mean?
Well, exactly.
And so, yes, this movie has those moments that you're talking about where like, what's the thing or whatever. But what makes it that is because I've quoted it with my friends.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Or and I've quoted it with you.
Right.
Or I've quoted it with like, whatever, students or whatever, like at work,
Right.
It's just like it has that ability to bring people together because we've all collectively thought it was funny.
Right.
And so that, to me, even like with movies like Anchorman, that's what makes these movies better than what they actually are.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, like you said, when we were watching it alone, it's like, man, it's funny.
Yeah.
But it's not as funny as like you and I watched it together.
Right. Exactly.
But from there, I would say timing.
Yeah.
I would say the timing of the wit of this movie. I do think a lot of this being improv, these kind of comedies can tend to be mostly improv. They're not really line for line. They're more situational. Like this is the scene and these are the lines that we wrote. But if you want to embellish, go for it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so that's what I think is that, though I will say that has also been vastly overdone. Okay. So that's came out in 2006. So this is 2023. A lot of movies have just become that. So the director or whomever has stopped directing. They've basically say action, and then the actors from like SNL are supposed to do do the scene, and the director doesn't do much, and they as a person are just standing there, and it's just become about the dialogue, not really the movement, and it's cheap, price wise. Even I'm not even saying as comedy, it's just cheap, and now it's been overdone, and a bunch of movies have done it, and blah, blah, blah. So comedy wise, we've definitely moved on from this style because it's been milked.
Right.
We don't really need any more,
Exactly.
But timing, I will say, is my number one for this. But how about you?
I mean, I feel like, what was the question?
The thing that I guess is your biggest draw. The thing that thought is the best part.
What I'm getting out of this?
Right.
I mean, like I was saying before, like there are a lot of iconic scenes in it. And just when it gets to those moments, like for example, I'm just going to pull this one right out, like the food he serves at first.
Yeah.
Absolutely hilarious.
It's so funny. Just like,
it's like, what is
there
this?
you go.
Like, it looks like poo.
Right,
Just
exactly.
Like, what is that? Like,
I think it's
sort of soup or something?
I think it's baked beans.
Oh my gosh!
I think it's just giving out baked beans.
It just looks nasty.
And it's so funny because that is funny.
And the funny thing about it
comes
too,
out his nose.
Yeah, that part is, he was like eating like a nacho or chips or something
it just like
that.
takes it.
Oh,
which
my
means
gosh! And then it comes out.
It comes out. So obviously for that
he wipes
scene,
it from
he exactly doesn't wipe it off. He just wipes it on his face further.
Dude, that nasty.
And obviously to make that scene, it would have had to already been in his nose. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
okay. Yeah,
obviously,
right.
that's not what happened. That wasn't his
called
actual
editing, guys.
Visceral reaction or whatever.
Right.
Like it was in his nose prior, and then he sneezed, and then obviously shot out of his nose. Because it didn't look the same texture wise. If you notice that, it looks a little bit more green to me.
Yeah.
But like the egg when he cracks the egg and he eats it. Obviously, it's not an egg. Right. You know what I mean? Like that was
like some little yellow and
so I think they made that out of pudding.
Okay.
It's like pudding and something else. Stuff like that. It's acting.
That was funny though.
That was funny.
Hilarious trying to eat the egg.
He's like, summon your ego powers. And he's like, what do you think I'm doing?
Oh my gosh. No, but what was really funny was like after he eats the egg, he's like, he thinks he's an eagle. So
he goes like this.
Yeah, he's like, so he tries to,
dive or whatever. And then he's like, when he says, summon your ego powers, he's like, what do you think I'm doing? And then he like flaps his cape.
Oh, yes.
It's just that's so, and then he does the thing above his head. He does this, and they make the eagle noise.
Rest right in the middle, right before the match.
Right, exactly.
Before the match,
and then like that's what they did. They would use sound effects also as part of the joke. So like obviously there's the slight eagle noise when he does that.
Right.
But there was a wolf noise that anytime that he was with sister. Oh, I can't remember pronounce her name.
Well, they know. I'm sure they know.
Sister
what you're talking about.
Encarnacion, because he sings the whole song, which was an improv. So the Encarnacion that he was singing right before he went to his match because he wanted to impress her or whatever. He's singing it in the we'll say the green room. It's in the bathroom.
With that guy, right?
Yeah, he's like, ate some bugs, ate some grass. That song.
Oh yeah,
he's like singing it. He made that up on the spot.
What was very funny about it was like in the very beginning of it, it sounded like a nice song.
It did.
And then all of a sudden it just took a nosedive, and I'm just like, oh my!
But that's the thing. That's Jack Black. He's so like clever, and he's so quick. You know,
that's good stuff.
But anytime that he was flirting with Encarnacion, and she like, there's the first time,
which is a no. They
right, exactly.
Do that, right?
She touches his knee, and when she does that, there's a wolf noise. It's like, in the background,
my gosh.
you know, and then you see his eyebrows because his comedy is a lot of times in his face, and so you see his eyebrows do the thing, and there's another time where she does something where she's like kind of in a way flirting with him, and they do the wolf noise, and that's what I say. The sound effects was also a part of the comedy, like the fart noises as well too. When he goes to like
threw
jump
me off right there. That was all those like just before he goes.
Yeah, and I will say,
oh man,
that my comedy. Some people love slapstick and all that kind of stuff. Honestly, a good fart will just. I will sometimes be on the edge of where I can't breathe, just because a good timed fart can just to me just send me in tears. And so when this movie came out, of course it did. When I was watching it alone, I chuckled, but it wasn't like. I wasn't dying like I used to die for fart jokes.
It's so immature.
These fart jokes, but it's so good, man.
I guess we both get a kick out of them. Okay?
Right, exactly.
My gosh,
get a little fart out of them.
I completely forgot the scene because it's been a while since I watched this too.
Yeah,
it's like right after the first match, or was it right after the first match? Oh yes, it was.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's a scene where they're in the bathroom and he's in the toilet.
Yeah, he's like,
and I'm like, oh my god,
or something.
He's like talking, and then they're like,
come on, he says, come on, baby.
Yeah. And then it's just, oh my,
you know,
gosh, yeah,
just
right.
like so
okay,
freaking hilarious.
Just get out of here.
And that's what I'm saying.
My God. Can you imagine eating popcorn? You know, like
exactly, just dying. It's just, and when because it's in the subtlety because he's talking. The other character's talking at the time, and he says that in the background. It's very subtle.
Right.
And that's why the joke. That's why I've watched it so many times. Is because the more you watch it, the more you see the jokes.
They must have been really good friends for them to be having that conversation while they're
chemistry wise.
Yeah.
And then with him, even like I said, so Hector doing his face like that when he would say, "We will win," and he's like,
"Oh my god,"
he's got the face like that because you are too fat. When he's talking about pulling him above the fence or whatever
in the party.
Yeah, he's like the party.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah, I am the scene. That part, just I don't know.
I love Jack Black's face as he's trying to fit in with the band. He's
his
just
smile.
Just trying to play the banjo-looking thing.
It's funny. Our roommate of mine in college,
and then his horrible singing.
Yeah, exactly. A roommate of mine is the best. Yes, this people on fire. There we
go.
That's what I'm saying. I can quote this movie.
Awesome,
ladies and gentlemen.
You should do we should do a
episode.
We should reenact.
We should reenact. It's kind of like what was it, Parks and Rec, where Andy reenacts. Have you seen Parks and Rec?
I have not. I think I've seen it. I've seen an episode, so I kind of know what.
Yeah, I was just saying the scene where it's a show. He's like reenacting all of his favorite movies because the cable goes out because he forgot to pay the bill.
Oh my!
And so he's reenacting, and so that we could do something like that where I just stand there with a camera and reenact the whole movie.
Oh my goodness!
I was gonna have a point, but I think I just forgot it because I got into Parks and Rec.
Oh no! He was it? I'm trying to help you to remember. He was just singing.
I had a roommate.
Okay.
I had a roommate in college who would do Jack Black's smile at the end of the movie.
Oh.
Because it's like Jack Black is trying to do the world's smallest smile. Because it's real teeny tiny, but then there's like brought up at the edges. And my roommate would do it spot on in college.
Really?
All the time, and I would just die laughing, because it was you'd look over and it'd be at lunch or something, and you'd look over or at a class, you'd look over and you'd see him, and he'd do the smile real quick that he would do. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
that one. Gosh. It's just it was the funniest thing, and I could never do it correctly. But man, that guy, he was like a Jack Black's brother. He was so funny to me.
Gosh.
But yeah, it's those subtleties. And again, you would not notice that smile, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's because it's not in the verbals. It's in the movie.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. How are we doing on time?
Good.
We don't want to go long anymore.
No.
Not like last week. Sorry,
10,
everyone.
10 minutes till. Yeah.
10 minutes till.
Well, we got a little crazy last week. It was the first time first time guest.
Exactly. First time guest on this one.
Yeah.
So, but there was one prior.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about that. So don't hurt me.
19. 17.
Yeah. So Rotten Tomatoes, we haven't gotten to our boys' Rotten Tomatoes yet.
Right.
Tomato meter, so 40%,
Mm-hmm.
which is thumbs down.
Garbage.
And then audience score, so tomato meter being obviously the critics.
Right.
Audience score being obviously the audience score, 55%, which is a green bucket on its side.
Oh, yeah. That's garbage, too.
Yeah. Also garbage. And that one's rating is 250,000 plus ratings on that one.
Wow. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you think of the world, you know what I mean? Obviously, that's a really small percentage of people who rated it, but that's those kinds of numbers are a pretty good indication of what the masses thought.
Okay.
And so that's why I say it's a bias for me because of timing. I was not too young, and I was not too old. I was right in the right spot. And so I feel like in 2006, had you seen Nacho Libre, would you have liked it compared to when you probably saw it 10 years later, you know?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's about timing. And do you rate on these websites?
I just IMDb.
Oh, just IMDb? Okay, I rate on IMDb as well, too.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't write ratings.
Oh, right. That's
do you write ratings?
Long. I don't.
Yeah, I don't do that either.
No.
A lot of these guys act like they're critics, and they're not. They talk about stuff, and it's like, I wasn't even in the movie.
Oh, my
Some
gosh.
of them, some IMDb ratings are for the sake of comedy that I've seen. And it has nothing to do with the movie. And I don't know if they filter it out or not, but I have seen some ratings where it was, I laughed.
Just put a thumbs down on it. That's
right.
What you gotta do.
And people are like, nah, that's not a rating. But it's like, they're so funny because it's obviously not the right movie, nor is it about any movie.
Right.
And it's just hilarious. What else happened in this movie that was... So you say something about it.
I say something about it. Oh my!
I feel like I talk a lot. You say something.
Oh,
about
okay.
it.
Well, I mean, going back to the movie, if we can just kind of step away from the reviews.
Okay.
I feel like maybe, some people find this movie pointless.
Yeah.
Which I understand.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to say this would be something people would probably leave. Versus I stay and laugh because, so I'm going to take this scene, for example, when they're preparing for their first wrestling match. Right. Right. Yep. And it's just pretty funny and crazy.
That's the song.
And crazy. Well, hold on. Let's just talk about the music real quick. Now that you brought it up, But
now they bunny trail off a bunny trail.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the music is just...
I think, don't quote me on this, but I think I read something about this. Also, Jack Black did a podcast while he was filming this show.
Really?
And I never actually listened to it or watched it or whatever it is.
No podcasts were around back then.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
And so this is what I've heard.
Okay.
Is that there's a podcast, and I thought it was during, so maybe it was after, Jack Black talked about the making of this movie or making this movie. Apparently, it was a huge hit.
Oh, wow.
But I've never heard of it or seen it or anything like that.
Okay.
But from what I also understand is that the music was picked specifically because it was cheap.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Really?
And so the music was, in a sense, it was kind of like a B-roll music, kind of like what my music would be compared to like other people's music. It's chosen. It's not that popular, and it's chosen last. I'm not gonna choose, like, if I'm making a film, I'm not going to choose a Justin Bieber song. I'm going to choose a song that's from a really, really low artist and pay $50 instead of pay $10,000.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? And so that's what they did for this movie, and that's not uncommon.
Okay.
That's not something that is completely strange that they would do. Obviously, movies have budgets.
Yeah.
And so you pick songs that are just cheap. To kind of get through it. And so the music was very fitting
for
what they were doing. And I think it actually it made the movie.
It did.
the music did, because
Music does so much.
oh,
man.
absolutely, yeah, it adds to the
amazing.
degree. Have you guys done a review on oh shoot, I'm trying to think of the movie.
Oh, you don't even know the movie.
I Am Legend.
Oh, we haven't. No.
Have you seen I Am Legend?
I have.
Okay. There's no soundtrack in the whole
A little
movie.
scary.
Yeah, a little scary. There's no soundtrack in the whole movie. There's no music in the whole movie.
Okay.
And that's why it feels the way it feels, where it feels edgy and it feels like something's going to happen and this and the other thing.
Oh,
It's because there's no music behind it.
No.
Also, it's very cheap to do that. But that was also very smart, because now there's this tension because there's no music to relieve you from that tension, where music can really set the scene for things. And so, that scene where they're going to fight, or they're prepping to fight, or whatever, and it's like on the organ or whatever. It's perfect. You know what I mean?
It is.
There's nothing to it. It's just like the drums are like, and it's just like, there's nothing happening.
Yeah.
Musically speaking, this not like, they do this like cool like organ solo kind of thing or whatever.
Yep.
Nothing. There's nothing to it, and there's
and that maybe that kind of, if you think about it, there's nothing to the music. There's nothing to what they're doing.
Exactly.
There's no point what are they doing? Like
exactly. Yeah, the fighting,
getting hit by the bull.
Right.
Like,
it's not actually wrestling. They're not prepping for wrestling. They're just hitting each other.
Putting like poop on each other's faces?
Yeah, he puts it on his face, and then he like walks on and then shoots him in the arrow.
I was like, what the
back with the arrow, and it's just like, that's it.
Oh,
there's nothing to do with wrestling. It's so funny.
Oh my gosh!
And it's like, and
if people take this movie too seriously, like they're not gonna like stuff like that.
Right, exactly. Right? Like when I had Bree watch it with me, she was not impressed. Which I get.
I understand.
It's not for you.
It's not for everyone.
I feel like it's a little bit like when with Dad Rock, and they're like, ACD's the greatest band that ever lived. They're a good band, but it's really the Dad Rock people, that like, those older guys that are just heavily invested in AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, and obviously everybody's heard of those people, and they're much more on a bigger scale than Nacho Libre. But this can tend to be one of those things where it's like, people have probably heard of Nacho Libre, but it's really us that, we're not dads yet, but like it's really us who are like, we'll say millennials that have been like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like this is the coolest, what I mean? This is so cool, and it's not, but we think it is, and that's all that matters,
Yeah.
Right, so mom and dad don't get us.
Oh, jeez.
I just actually, I'm scrolling through IMDb, and
ever so often, for some reason, this does hit well with the older generation, for some people, and as well as the younger generation too.
Yeah, there's the niche, you know what I mean? Like, if you look at the ratings of pretty much anything, so we'll say music as well too, you can actually see the age group. It tends to look more like a triangle of what people tend to think about something in entertainment. I think you might have one as well too on this podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
If you look in your like nitty-gritty part of the podcast, that was a line from the movie. Okay. If you look into the details of this podcast, you can see what age group listens the most.
Oh, very nice.
And so, and it tends to look more like a triangle.
Okay,
cool. What I mean? And so
that might make a little more sense after we roll this ad.
Hey, Gabe, how about you tell us about Podbean?
I'd love to tell you about Podbean. It is our distributing platform that we can distribute our podcasts onto all sorts of platforms. We're talking Spotify. We're talking Apple Music. All sorts of not YouTube though, because we have our own.
YouTube is our own.
Yeah. So
your own.
But if you want to be a part of this and you want to try a 30-day free trial, all you got to do is go to podbean.com/ETFree1, and they will get you hooked up. Wow. And let you know everything that you need to know.
That sounds amazing. Hey, Gabe, so what would I need to do to be a sponsor on the show?
That is a great question. I'm glad you asked. All you have to do in order to get sponsored on this show or any Podbean platform show is you just have to go to sponsorship.podbean.com/ETFree1. And guess what? They're going to give you, $100 credit, up to $100 credit to use so that you can be able to sponsor your small business or anything.
That's
like
a lot
that.
of money.
It
You can buy a whole car with that.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it is. All right, let's get back to the show. And we're back after that very late ad. I hope you enjoyed it. Why are you laughing?
It's just so funny. Okay, so
man.
the
Next time
Gabe,
we'll do it in the beginning. Then.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
you want it in
the
the
Gabe that I know as a person and the Gabe on this podcast are two different.
All right.
It's so funny to me.
Don't start.
It's so funny.
Start.
I love it. I wish you guys could know Gabe in
Just
person.
Let's just play more games with me, maybe.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we play Apex a lot. Though, a little bit of a tangent. NRG just dropped out of Apex.
Oh, the actual
NRG.
Oh no,
they dropped out of Apex.
Oh my gosh,
huge. I know that's like, who cares? Because that's probably even the people who care about that is probably even smaller than the people who like this movie.
Okay, well.
But that's a really big deal in Apex. That goes to show, by the way, how much that show is tanking.
Oh,
game.
Yeah, I got
is
confused.
Tanking. That NRG dropped out.
Man. Yeah.
So, anywho, I just was reading on IMDb as I was talking and you were talking.
Okay.
The song that Jack Black sings at the party was improv. The
the
one he
like
said,
it.
"I am a singer at the
yeah.
party." Yeah,
It does.
so he improv that. He pretty much will say any song that he did. He improv.
Okay.
So,
but Ramses is not dancing at the party.
Yeah, he's not dancing.
Oh my gosh.
Ramses is the one. He says the people all on fire.
Oh my god, it's so funny that he's talking about people dancing. No one's dancing.
Right, exactly. Right, he's like dance, and then the woman, she's like, "Shh, secretanos."
Oh my
he's like,
gosh.
He's like, what? When she's crawling through, just that. Did the movie need that? No, but it was funny. It didn't change anything in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the guy, he has 0 lines in the whole film, but he's an older gentleman, and he's the biggest fan of Nacho Libre, the guy who kind of has a wonky eye.
Oh yeah,
like a lazy eye.
I was thinking like he's like some sort of manager or something.
No, he doesn't have any, and he's like Nacho.
Yeah,
he's like doing that thing with his hands like that. There's no point in that gentleman in the movie.
I was thinking
it's
he was
so
like
good.
Some sort of,
He didn't do it. He's just a fan.
Right.
You know what I mean? He doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything for the movie.
Right.
But it was funny.
Yes.
And that's the point. The humor takes away from the plot, though. In this movie, I would say there's much more of a plot. That can come from these kinds of these things. Oh, and they did make an album of the soundtrack.
Wow.
From this movie, including Jack Black's improvs.
That's awesome.
But I will say it wasn't from the actual movie take. He went back in the studio, obviously, because it's not sung the same.
Right.
He went back in the studio and went and obviously re-recorded and had a much longer version.
Right.
Because he gets cut off with both songs, I believe. The one he gets the wine thrown on him from Ramses.
Okay. He gets cut off, yes.
And then the other one was he's singing in the bathroom and the guy, he's like, what does he say when he opens they are ready for you now.
Oh, yeah.
Is what he says. And then he's just he's like standing there and he's like,
awkward. Let the man sing his heart out.
Yeah, let him do his thing, man.
He's in love.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Oh man,
how's our time?
Well, and then the iconic song in the beginning. I feel like.
What's the one in the beginning?
Like, and if I were to hear it, I will immediately think of Nacho Libre.
Oh, I know. I am. I am. I think a real religious man.
Yeah, that one.
I think again, though, that was a B-roll or B film, like B music. Like that wasn't a song. Like that was. They obviously picked it. We'll say they picked it out of a barrel, kind of thing.
Oh wow! Okay.
You know what I mean? They did not really spend a budget on music, but
because that movie even that song even comes out towards the end too.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
and so that kind of tends to be the theme of the movie, which is good. And so I like. It's good to do that with movies, to have like one of the greatest representations of doing that is Star Wars. Star Wars is really good. When you hear the music, you know that Darth Vader is about to come in the room.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I cannot remember what that's called. There's a word for that.
Mm-hmm.
But Star Wars is one of those movies that like you hear the music and you know that something bad is about to happen. You hear the music and you know that they're on a certain planet, or you know what I mean, like,
Right.
or this character is about to come out, or whatever.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like the music prepares your brain more than anything.
Oh yeah.
And I do that, though this film doesn't really do that. It kind of does that a little bit, and that's important. You know.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So. Yeah. Anything else?
Okay. Yeah. No, I think. No, yeah, I was just saying. Oh, yeah. One thing I just wanted to mention was that when I was younger, I had no idea that there was lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
My little, idiotic brain, only understood like, yeah.
Oh, really?
I didn't know that there was actual lyrics until I actually watched this again. I was like, oh my gosh, no, they're not singing yeah. They're singing actual lyrics and words.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's
Oh my
hilarious.
gosh.
I didn't know that.
It's so interesting how, your brain can,
Absolutely.
you remember it as this, but then
Yeah.
you watch a movie again and it's all like, what?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It's like the Mandela effect, though that
Oh my
wasn't
goodness.
the Mandela effect, but it's kind of like that for your own personal self. You know,
Oh, yeah.
You know what that is or no?
No.
Mandela effect is where, as a society,
Mm-hmm.
so where it comes from is everybody thought Mandela died.
Okay.
However long ago that was, and then when he actually died, everybody said, "I thought he's already dead."
Oh.
And so, and everybody, a ton of people remember him dying. And when he actually died, we were like, what? But you'll see that with like Berenstain Bears, the way it was spelled, or people with like Jif, peanut butter, it's being spelled with one F or two Fs.
Okay.
Like a lot of people remember,
Okay.
or is it Skippy, or one of those, something like that.
Oh.
And I'm paraphrasing in a lot of this, but everybody as a collective remembers it as one thing. Oh, Shazam, when everybody talks about it actually being Sinbad.
Oh.
But
Okay.
it was Shaq or something along that line. Like that's another big one that everybody remembers, and it's not. And so that's one of yours, though that's specifically for you. You remember it a certain way, and then you actually watched it and was like, wait, that's not the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be this, even though it was actually that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Mandela effect just for you, though.
So that happens.
It does
Gotcha.
happen. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
'cause it's been definitely been a few years since I've watched this one.
when was the last time you watched it?
If I'd have to guess, I'd have to say about 2016.
Okay. We weren't that far off.
Yeah, so
Last
about
time you
I
watched
don't know,
it?
7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think when I watched
Ouch.
it with a lady,
Mhm.
that was 2018. I don't feel like I was quite as on as when I actually watched it. I remember specifically where I was. I was in my dorm room with my dorm mates.
Right.
And when was it? Maybe it was, I don't know. And the point of the time together was for me to prove that I could quote that whole movie through. And so, because that's, okay, let's be honest. That's
5 seconds before the line, you say the line.
No, I say it as the line is going on.
As the line is going
Yes, I'm saying it verbatim in the timing.
on. Oh my gosh.
I am on, and the music is going, and I'm on the music.
Jeez.
Like I could quote the whole movie, and I just wanted to prove that I could. I didn't get it 100%. There's no way that I got it 100%, but I know I was close.
Okay. That's good.
And it's like I deserve a trophy or something like that.
Right,
You know?
right.
Which, do you have one?
I don't.
All right. Well, next time.
The
just-
Photoshop one right
yeah.
here on my hand.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're
All right,
welcome.
you can give it over to me. Thank you. Wow. This trophy here.
Picture of the worst trophy ever.
This trophy here. I'm so excited that I did that.
Oh,
That's just
man.
goals. You know what I mean? When you're in
Right.
college, obviously your ambitions are usually to become a doctor or quote Nacho Libre. So, obviously mine was not to become a doctor. So,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, this movie was a big one, and it wasn't the one that got Jack Black on the map, but it definitely was a big one.
Oh, yeah, I think that was
For
Kung Fu
him.
Panda.
Yeah. No, you think Kung Fu Panda
I'm
was
just
his one?
kidding.
Okay.
That's just a joke.
That was a good one, though. That was a good
Oh,
movie.
man. It was a good movie.
But I wouldn't say it was the one that got him on the map.
Oh, yeah. No.
I think Jack
So.
Black's first movie that made him famous is Never Ending Story.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think it made him famous. But he was the bully in Never Ending Story 3. So I don't know if that made him famous. I would say the one that made him publicly famous was probably School of Rock,
Okay.
which is a good film. So if
okay.
you ever get a chance, we should
Gotcha.
take your time to watch it.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if it's reviewable.
Okay.
I don't think it.
Yeah, and you know what? Now that you bring that up, there are definitely some movies out there
Right.
that are just like not reviewable. Like,
Right,
you just
yeah.
can't.
It's a great
Really,
movie.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like put it down.
Uh-huh.
This is our review of it too. / School of Rock. No, it was a good
Jeez.
movie. I really enjoyed it. Mike White did such a great job in writing and acting in it and all that
Okay.
kind of stuff. But was it the kind of movie that like transcends time? I guess it's who you talk to. Some people probably think so.
Mhm.
But I just, you bring up School of Rock. Like, say, for instance, that movie came out. Let's look it up really quick. School of Rock,
Or you could just guess.
2003.
Okay.
School of Rock came out. You could just guess. So it came out 3 years prior.
Okay, 3 years.
You've had your whole life to
Okay.
watch School of Rock.
Wow.
Since you were 3.
Okay.
I don't know how old you are.
right,
Since you were
right.
2 or something. I don't
Okay.
know. You've had your whole life to watch this film and you've not.
Mhm.
But you've seen Nacho Libre.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that's what I mean by I don't know if it's worth reviewing because it's like it tends to be movies like this, movies that are popular that people have seen.
Right.
I guess there might be another person down the line that would like to review School of Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Not one of those movies I'd like to review.
Gotcha.
If we ever did or whatever.
Oh, okay. Right.
But
Yeah.
yep. And then
just-
if you find Gabe's Instagram or whatever, beep, that's his last name. Use that sample to beep out your last name.
Oh gosh. I think I might.
If you find his if you find his Instagram, you should tell him to watch Fight Club. Because for some reason he keeps trying to not watch and review that movie.
Right. I will watch it, I promise.
Okay, because we
I
need
did
to
watch one
review-
of them that you told me about, Fury. Watch that one.
Okay, yeah, you like it?
I did like it.
That's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
We could review that one.
It's a good movie. I think the other war movie was better.
Which one? Oh,
one was it?
1971.
That one was better. 1917.
Much far better. Yeah,
And what was that other one that I really liked? Hacksaw Ridge.
that was a good one.
I love that one.
Hacksaw Ridge.
And Saving Private Ryan. You can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong with
Saving
that
Private
one.
Ryan.
I will say.
Good
Right
one.
now, there's a trend on TikTok where they are these significant others, girls are asking their boys
Okay.
how much they think about the Roman Empire, and a lot of these guys are saying, "I think about it several times a week." Okay, this is a huge trend on TikTok. But I will say, for me, I don't really ever think, though I've thought about the Roman Empire quite a bit. I think about World War I and World War II several times a week. I will say.
Really?
And so
Okay.
I just think that they're some of the most fascinating things that have happened in history.
It's interesting. Very interesting.
And so when movies nail it, like those movies, especially 1971, when they 1917, you're right. Yeah. Dyslexia and my brain kicked in. When those movies come out, they're done super well like that.
Yeah.
Especially 1917, because that was World War I, which there's not that many movies about World War I.
Yeah. That's
It's
true.
just super, super good.
Very true.
The way it was directed, we talked about that.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
listen
Go
to
back.
that.
Go and listen to that.
It's not in our podcast, or not in this podcast.
Right.
It's in movie art review,
yes.
which you would think is about reviewing movie art. But no, it's actually about reviewing movies.
Well, but don't you agree that like movies are like an art?
All right, yeah, I totally agree. Absolutely, I'm not arguing with the name of it,
Okay.
but I'll just say when I first heard about it, because you had that before you had the podcast.
Oh yeah, I think 4 years, 5
yeah,
years.
and I think that's what made us friends.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Because you were super quiet.
I was.
And so that was the first thing I ever found out that you
Right.
did. And you did it at your computer and edited it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You
Good old days.
good old days.
Well, it's still going on, but
Right, it's still going on. And
not
so
as active as this.
right. When I looked it up and it said movie art reviews, I really did initially think it was about reviewing the
Okay.
covers
That's a little
of movies.
boring.
But I don't know. You know what I mean? Some people have their thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think Blu-ray, like some of the steel
Yeah.
books
Yeah.
are beautiful.
Absolutely.
That's all, okay.
See, there you
There we
go.
go. I mean,
Music
hey,
movie
hey,
art
hey,
review.
hey, okay, all right. But I don't ever like talk about the steel books.
No,
or anything.
no.
I mean, I don't do that. Like, I mean,
You want to review
this-
Nacho Libre?
Oh, geez.
So he's standing. He's Nacho Libre. He's
the
standing.
poster.
He's standing
Yeah.
down, and he's got his hands like
Right.
karate moves.
Yeah.
And then you've got Sister in the back,
Mhm.
and then
Amazing tights.
Chancho. Amazing tights.
Sometimes a grown man likes to
Oh yeah.
have
What is it?
tights in his bedroom.
Sometimes when you wear stretchy pants, it's for fun.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes when you are a man, you wear stretchy pants. It's for fun.
Gosh.
I'm in my PJs. She goes in a frilly slack and shirt or frilly blouse and slacks or something.
Oh, the blouse.
And he's like,
geez.
yes. Yeah. Or he's like, okay, one of my favorite lines in the movie is when they're eating toast. And he says,
my gosh, that was hilarious.
Good toast. It's like that's all he says. Good toast.
Because you don't expect that. You know, the bread goes underneath the door.
Yeah, it's like
and like, there's no way they're just gonna sit down and eat. And then all of a sudden, the scene cuts.
Right, exactly.
And they're eating, and it's crunchy.
Yeah, it's just hilarious, and that's it. That's the comedy to that scene. But if you watch, because there's a lot of discrepancies or whatever in that movie or in that scene. And so the toast that he keeps eating keeps changing.
Oh,
yeah. So one will be like eaten, then one's like really eaten, and then one's clearly a completely different piece.
Oh no!
So it's just like those kind of things that
throws you off there.
It doesn't throw you off. It's just like no movie is perfect.
Right. Oh yeah.
So
there's always a problem.
There's always something that they forgot or whatever.
Yeah, right.
So,
right. That's true.
But I don't know. I will say. Mike White and the Hess marriage are great, and they're in the same caliber to me. You ever heard of the director Taika Waititi?
Yes.
Okay. So he's
Ragnarok.
He did Thor Ragnarok, which obviously he's famous for.
Yes.
And now he's the kind of director that he's who's the Ryan guy? The
Ryan Johnson?
Ryan Johnson.
Okay.
Where he's really hard to get a hold of.
Okay.
So that's where he's at. But I'll say before that, this Ragnarok, he for me was with these guys was one of my top tier indie film. I don't know if this is indie film because you if you're working with Nickelodeon, you have a budget, Right, yes. But I'll say not popular movies. Like actual movies, A-list movies, not famous enough, but also not B-list, so they're not quite down. They're not here, but they're more here. Right. They're not all the way down here. Okay. Taika Waititi is right there with these films, and so I just wanted to, when I watch films like this, I always think of him or those directors that do movies like this.
Yes.
Where it's just like you have these people and like Mike, who's now you should watch White Lotus. I think it's on Hulu.
Okay.
Or maybe it's on Max. And it's just these directors that weren't for a while there. They weren't that big. You think of Taika Waititi. He did What They Do in the Shadows, which is the vampire documentary movie.
Oh.
We should that's a good review movie too. Okay. I don't know if you'd be into that one. It's a mockumentary.
Documentary. Okay.
It's a mockumentary.
That's like Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer.
Nope, that's like an actual documentary. So it's a mockumentary.
Okay.
So it's like The Office is a mockumentary.
Oh.
So they're making fun of. It's not an actual documentary. Right. It's a funny thing, and they're filming it like it is a documentary.
Right. Oh.
Did you hear that one?
Must be time to go.
But so that's how it is. It's like they're documenting vampires, but it's funny.
Right. Okay.
But I think of stuff like his movies, and so I wanted to make a shout out to other people who are doing the same thing super well and are now very successful because of it. And obviously, eventually did Thor, and then he was Klorg. I think is the name of the character. Korg.
Really? He did the acting voice?
Yeah, the big rock guy.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, that's him. That's his voice.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's about exactly how he sounds. And I do think he's doing a voice.
Right.
But his voice is he's from New Zealand.
Okay.
So some of his things, the way he says it, is kind of more similar to that, I will say. Gotcha. He's trying to be goofy in what he's doing.
Right.
But I've heard his voice, and he can he's not that far off. I don't be like me or you doing the voice of something. Okay. You could tell that we're doing the voice of something.
Yes.
Because our voices sound like they do. We're not professional voice actors,
We're not. No.
So, or we could be if you have the money for it.
Oh my goodness. We'll just turn a filter on and then just...
Yeah. Remember when I did that? Was I with you? When I was playing Apex and I put a filter on my voice?
Oh, I don't remember.
Might not have been with you.
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, I figured out how to take the audio signal from my headset and microphone and send it into my computer. And so the signal would go into my computer and then go to my ears, and the microphone would go from my microphone into my computer and then back into
Oh my goodness.
the console. And it was all onto my remote.
Jeez.
And so the reason why I did that is I was trying to put effects on my voice to make it sound really, really weird. And I did it. Maybe it was with my cousin or something.
Okay.
And every person that we played with didn't say anything. You know what I mean? Like I thought,
nice.
I know every person just was like casual conversation. They weren't laughing. They weren't commenting on it. It was clearly a fake voice.
Okay.
That's been through a bunch of filters.
Okay.
And nothing. It was very deadpan.
Gosh.
Not really a fan.
Not the reaction you wanted, huh?
I will say though that was probably more on what's the one? Not with the actual war. Why can't I think of it? Warzone.
It was
with Warzone. I did that more with Warzone than I did. Who does that game?
I don't know.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, yes.
I don't know why I couldn't think of Call of Duty in that
you're
moment.
thinking of like the studio, like Activision or something.
No. Warzone 2.0, which was okay.
Yeah.
But still a huge Apex.
Right.
Though now that all of these people are pulling out, I'm a little nervous.
Okay.
We'll see. It
Just relax.
It makes me nervous because I'm afraid that they're gonna overreact.
Okay.
So I'm afraid that because NRG's leaving, that they're gonna overreact.
Okay. Right.
But that is neither here nor there. Because
Right.
that is not what we're talking about.
Right.
So, anywho.
Anyway, should we rate this movie or?
Yeah, let's rate it.
Oof.
I will say, so I'm going to try to rate it with a non-bias.
Okay.
I will say this movie for me
Will we hear both or just one?
We can do both.
One? Oh.
If I were to say bias, okay, I'm going to start with non-bias first. I'm going to hit hard and then mend the wound first.
If it's your first time here, like C is kind of like an average movie.
Right. I would say this is B minus.
Okay.
For an actual rating.
Okay.
But I would say for my bias, I would say it's in like an A minus for me.
Okay.
A, somewhere up in there.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna stick with A minus.
Okay.
So, because
Gotcha.
I think what takes it down to an A minus for me is the CGI. You know.
It is a little hideous.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, but not as bad as Jumanji. Because nothing can ever be as bad as Jumanji.
Right. Or Geostorm.
Geostorm. I've never heard of that.
Good.
I'm looking up Geostorm.
Oh gosh, please
Geostorm.
don't. Jared Butler is the best thing about it, but that's it.
Gerald Butler.
Gerard Butler, is that his name? All right.
Yeah, Gerald.
Yeah. Well, so for me, I feel like I'm somewhere around there. I'd say from a critical point, I guess I'd say like a B.
A B. Okay.
But when you throw in like nostalgia and whatnot, it doesn't go up too much. I think I'd go with a B plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
But
I think it's fair.
It still is an entertaining movie.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I still like it.
I do
Watch
think,
it again.
all in all, in conclusion, if you like stupid humor,
like Rat Race,
like Rat Race, like Napoleon Dynamite, like Anchorman. If you like stupid humor, watch this movie. I'm sure a lot of people probably already have.
Yeah.
It's 17 years old. So really, what are you doing at this point?
It's an old one.
But
looks like it was made yesterday.
It does. In some ways, it does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
In some ways.
Just cinematography wise. So that would be whoever their DP was.
Right.
I obviously did a really good job. And then whoever did their coloring. But for the movie, I feel because Napoleon Dynamite can look really grayscaled, right. Which was on purpose. It's kind of that attitude anyway. So Juno can feel that way as well too, where it's a little grayscaled. But the colors definitely do pop. And the editing is much more clean.
Absolutely.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Completely agreeable.
Cool. How long was that episode so far?
It's getting long.
We can talk, man.
23.
Yeah.
23 minutes over?
Yeah.
All right. And that's it.
All right, there we go. All right. Hey, you know what, guys? If I would like to hear, we would like to hear what you thought about this movie. Just let us know in the comments below, or I don't know, shoot us Instagram DM or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
be nice.
I'm on all
nice.
3.
Yeah.
I got all 3 of them.
Twitter, maybe?
Nope. I do have a Twitter, but I never check
Oh,
it. So also
okay.
Twitter's a joke right now. Elon
It
Musk.
is. Big
So
old X.
Facebook, I have a fan page.
There you go.
Post App Music, all
Okay.
one word. Instagram, I have a fan page,
Okay.
all one
There you
music.
go.
Same handle for all 3.
Very
and then
famous.
TikTok.
Gotcha. Nice.
Follow me or
Very
listen to my
famous.
music.
Yes.
Help me
It's
pay
fantastic.
my bills.
Fantastic music. And help
Thank
pay my
you.
bills by following Movie Art Reviews.
Yeah, help
on,
pay us
on YouTube.
Oh, and I have a YouTube as well too. I
Oh,
forgot
yeah,
about that.
yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so people
Okay.
subscribe to me in there.
There we go. Awesome.
But yeah, help us pay our bills by doing
Yes.
this. Also, I have a
Yes.
song coming out later this year.
Oh, can't wait to hear it.
So
Awesome.
that's my first plug at it. I'm not
There
going to
you
even
go.
say the name of it, but
Nope. Secret.
I've got a couple people working with me on it,
Nice.
which is I'm very excited about
Yes.
that. Collabing in any way, shape, or form for me
Awesome.
is the way to go. And so I collabed with the last one, and I collabed with this one with the same person, and hopefully some other people here soon. So
That's great. That is great news. All right. Well, it was such a pleasure again
Yep.
to have you on the Entertainology Podcast.
Absolutely. And
Yes.
cut. No,
That was the end.
no, we can be
It was a terrible ending
Yeah.
last time. It was like 2 minutes of ending.
right. It was okay.
So,
All right. Bye.
all right. See you guys next time.
Oh boy, that sucked.
Was that the ending right
That
there?
was the end.
Okay,
That was a
cool.
terrible podcast.
That was bad.